Good evening. A major development in the state's infamous Beaumont children mystery. Fresh information has identified a new suspect 50 years after the three young siblings disappeared from Glenelg Beach in 1966. Police throwing open the file, which has baffled them for half a century.
The original police file from one of the nation's most infamous cold cases.
This file hasn't really been out of our office ever, and it's certainly a very important record in the criminal history of our state.
Police releasing the documents this morning, along with rarely seen photographs of the Beaumont children before they vanished from Glenelg Beach on Australia Day of 1966. 9-year-old Jane, 7-year-old Anna and 4-year-old Grant, taken from parents Jim and Nancy in an instant.
But I think it's fair to say that everybody in the community could imagine the devastating emotional impact this would have had on them.
Almost 50 years have now passed, but the public interest remains strong. Crime Stoppers receives a phone call about the case every 4 days, and just weeks ago took one of particular significance.
Credible enough in that we believe that we need to investigate it as opposed to file it.
Police say a caller identified a new person of interest, one who has never been linked to the case before.
It's a person who's died, and that makes some of our inquiries hard when people are nominated who are already deceased. Because obviously they're not there to interview. Whether it simply peters out and amounts to nothing, like the hundreds that have come before, or whether it's a breakthrough, you don't know until you've done the work.
Still important to police, the original police file.
Critically, it contains the special running sheet from the operations room set up that night back in 1966.
The first entry is at 7:20 p.m. 3 children reported missing by their father, who said they had not been overdue before. At 8:40, Brighton police are dispatched to the Glenelg foreshore. 43 minutes later, they'd searched the area without success and turned their attention to the home and yard of friends, picture theatres and bowling alleys. 9:50, the Sea Rescue Squadron is called in. 10 p.m, the father tells police that checks with all friends and relatives were unsuccessful. He authorises information to be broadcast on radio and urges police to take any measures possible in the search. Over the years, people at the beach that day have assisted police.
Witnesses saw a man lying on a beach towel looking at the children, and then later the children talking to this man and playing with him.
An identikit was created of that man, who police say spoke to some of the witnesses.
Between about 11 a.m. and midday, the man approaches some of the witnesses, asking if they'd seen anyone playing with the children's clothes because some money had been stolen.
But investigations continued to reach dead ends. That is despite large-scale searches, many theories and countless suspects, both dead and alive.
I can say that in relation to all of those, we've done an enormous amount of work in the background, and not all of that work's been made public. But some of those people fit into the unresolved category.
With more, let's go live to police reporter Ben Avery at Glenelg. Ben, how will the Beaumont children be remembered on Australia Day?
Well, Kate, a lot has changed over the past 50 years. A playground now stands in the place where these three siblings were last seen, but there are still many people out there who appear to be very keen to ensure that this disappearance is not forgotten. So on Australia Day, a coordinated vigil will be held to remember Jane, Anna and Grant, and to acknowledge what their family has been through. It's a vigil that's been organised by Susie Ratcliffe, whose sister Joanne Ratcliffe was abducted from Adelaide Oval in 1973. Her disappearance is also unsolved, and some believe whoever is responsible for the Beaumont disappearance is also responsible for the disappearance of Joanne.
Thank you. We're asking people around Australia or anywhere they are, basically, if they could light a candle in memory of the Beaumont children. I also want parents to educate their children about stranger danger, and also to educate them about the Beaumont children, because once our generation moves on and dies, I don't want the Beaumont's memory to be gone with it.
Now, later in the News Hour, we'll have an extended interview with Detective Superintendent Des Bray, who will shed more light on the new suspect in this case.